Hi guys, I've just cleared my desk because it was full of rubbish, and I found like loads of odd bits and pieces. Like, I tend to keep my scraps in like with the paper pads, so let me just show you one here. Like, if I use a 6x6, I'll just tuck my scraps back in here, so you know I can use them at a later date. So had loads of random bits sitting around. Some wood veneer, which were from the Amy Tan Project Life Ready Set Go one. And then I've got some like odd cutouts. I've got envelopes and stickers and rub-ons and loads of random bits of paper. So what I've decided to do is try and use these up on a layout. I have these two bits of paper that I pulled out from the... Everything's falling down now. From the Amy Tan Finders Keepers collection that I pulled out and hadn't used. So I'm going to try and use those as like my larger pieces, and try and use like this and like half a die cut, different stuff, and try and make a layout from it. Yeah, I just want to start getting rid of my scraps and my random bits of paper and just really stash bust, because yeah, I have so many photos and stories I want to capture. And so many bits of paper. I just need to get myself organised and motivated. So that is my plan. I'm going to try and make one layout from this. And then I think anything else I don't use is going to go in the bin. Because it's been sitting there probably for about 6 months. So that's my plan. Hopefully something will come out of this. And yeah, I will be back with the process video bit just now. Alright then guys, bye! Hi guys, so when looking through my scraps, I had this die cut piece that was actually torn in two, and I used this on a previous layout. I used the negative, and I was really wanted to use it, so actually I pieced it together. It's not perfect, but it will do. I'm going to cluster over the bits that are obviously kind of a little bit ripped. I also had a bit of white cardstock just in my stash, so I've just mounted my photo on that as well. And as you can see, a lot of these pieces of cardstock are plain bits of cardstock which I've used for photo mounting and stuff like that. And I don't often just use cardstock, so that is what I am doing there. This is actually a photo of the bookshelves in Barnes & Noble, and when I was in the States, I went to Barnes & Noble last time we were there, and I just loved it, but this time I knew I wanted to buy a couple of books, like American editions, and then my boyfriend actually, while we were over there, because it was my birthday, bought me a Barnes & Noble voucher, so I was able to actually buy a couple of books as well. I want to apologise if you can hear any weird tapping noises in the background. I'm not really sure what's happening. But yeah, so I did end up buying, I think, about 4 books. Yeah, about 4 or 5 books, which are not great to bring back on the plane, but I did bring them back in my hand luggage. So I really struggled to get this layout going because, yeah, because using scraps, they were all from different collections, and I just couldn't get it to work, and I didn't know if I liked the background paper, so I did struggle a little bit, but then I kind of hit on an idea and just kind of went with it. I was kind of playing about with where I wanted to place it on the page as well, because of course that heart die cut is quite domineering, but I decided I actually needed to cover a lot more of it up than I originally intended. So these bits of paper are from Cedar Lane, I believe. No, they might be... I know that one piece is Wanderlust. I'm not really sure what the other one is. Of course, I've got Darkwood Grain, which I absolutely love. And yeah, I just love Darkwood Grain. And I think it kind of went with kind of the bookshelfy feel, even though Barnes & Noble don't have wooden bookshelf. Well, they do, they're wooden, but they're kind of black laminate. I kind of thought it kind of went. I also had a piece of this really old Alison Kreft for... Who was that for? Echo Park, maybe? Or Webster's Pages? Who knows? An old piece of transparency. Going to try and use that up as well. This is just a die cut pack that my friend Karen gave me. It's a Ali Edwards one. It's a travel theme, but I just couldn't quite get it to work on here, but that's fine. That just kind of got put with these other bits. It wasn't wasn't a piece that was going in the bin, it was just kind of a pack that slipped in with these other bits and pieces. So I'm just starting to build these layers up, and I also found this piece of silver paper, which I really love. It actually got it from a cheap stationery store over here. It's very similar to the American Crafts Power glitter paper, which I love. So I just wanted to bring a little pop of silver to this, and it kind of ended up working really well. So I'm going to just pop that under some of those layouts, and this is where I kind of start to feel happy with it, because it's starting to kind of stand out from the background. But as I said, this layout all in all took me just over an hour, and that's because I do end up using a coloured image on here, even though it's not coloured with my Spectrum Noirs. I actually ended up painting it just in some watercolours just so I could get it to match this layout. So that's why it ended up taking a little bit longer than originally I kind of thought. So I'm happy with how this is kind of looking. That piece of bright purple paper is like cut on the wonk, and it was kind of like twisting my eye a little bit, and I couldn't get it to look quite right. But yeah, I decided to cut this down because I decided that this layout is going to need mounting, where I wasn't previously going to do it, but I think I'm going to mount it in the dark wood grain, because that means that it's going to kind of just make everything look much more cohesive. So I'm just going to use my wet glue to stick this down. I'm not worrying about sticking it down too firmly because I'm going to stick lots of layers over it anyway, so that's going to keep it down. And to be honest, once it's in a page protector, it's fine. The only thing I find that tends to fall off pages is enamel dots and like thickers. Other than that, I don't have much that falls off my pages. So I decided I want to kind of place this off to the side there. I'm going to cut those other bits and pieces off. I found these glue dots on my page, on my desk, so I decided to use them on this page because it's going to add a little bit of dimension, and I wanted to use them up because I found them. So I kind of now got the basic cluster going, and I'm happy with how it's looking. So that background is from the Finders Keepers collection from Amy Tangerine. I know I want to use that teal arrow transparency, so I'm just going to play around where I want to put that. And I do like playing with textures on these layouts. I just use a little bit of my ATG to stick that down because that's going to go behind the photo anyway. And as I said, that's been in my stash for a very long time. So I'm going to bring some silver up to the top, and I'm just sticking that down with my wet glue. That paper actually I believe is self-adhesive as well, but that is fine. I'm now kind of starting to feel like, okay, this is all a little bit lopsided, a little bit wonky. What can I put over there to the side? Again, this is a piece from Cedar Lane, I believe, and it's just building out the sides. And I find when you're working with scraps from like a collection pack, or a kit that you've been using for a while, you kind of know all your scraps, so it's quite easy to work them together. Because these are just a whole mishmash of scraps, that's what took me a little bit of a while to get my head around, is like how I can get everything to work. So I decide I want to get some of these wood veneers used up, and this one says Everyday Love, and my everyday love is reading, even though my reading has been appalling this year. If you've caught my recent kind of rambling video, I spoke about my books and how I've not read much. So I just mounted that up on a little bit of the wood grain just to help that pop off the photo, and I'm really happy with how that looks. And I'm also going to put a little bit of silver to the side of that as well. Do I? Don't I? I know I put a little bit of silver in that cluster somewhere. And again, that just means it's in 3 places on the layout. So I'm kind of happy with how this is looking, apart from that purple paper. You can't see here because it is off camera, but what I'm doing is I'm taking my offcut and I'm lining that up to make that piece of paper look square. I think that was what was throwing my eye off. So as you can see that I've just squared up that piece of paper, and I feel much happier about it. So I'm going to use this stamp set from Sugar Pea Designs. Is it Sugar Pea Designs? Yeah, Sugar Pea Designs. I'm going to use that. And there is a kind of almost like a sexy librarian kind of person, and actually she's going to fit perfectly beside that title piece, that little bit of wood veneer. I also pull out some other stamps as well, thinking maybe I can use these, maybe I can't, but I decided to go with this librarian type person. And I'm just looking for my watercolour paper here and found these punches while I was looking, which is a bit random. Not used them in a long while, so yes, that's something that I may use in a future video. Completely forgot I had those, which is really bad. So I'm going to be using, don't quite know what I'm doing here, probably faffing around because I've got far too much stuff around near me. So I'm just going to use my Archiver's ink because it's waterproof, and I'm going to stamp on the side of that. I was just pulling out a larger block. So I'm just inking up my stamp here, and I'm going to do a couple of impressions. Sorry you can see my crazy hair there. I'm just going to stamp it up a couple of times in case I make a mistake. And then I've also got the image if I need it again. What I am going to do is I'm just going to go away and paint that up, and I'm going to use those, can't think what they're called, the Japanesey watercolours anyway. So here is my watercolour design. Again, I took inspiration from the papers to do the colouring, and I'm really pleased how it came out actually. I think it works really well. So I then decide to go through some other bits. Again, this is Cedar Lane bits and pieces to pull in, and one of them, this is also Craft Market I think in this box as well. So I've got some glittery gold pieces, and I decided, okay, I'm going to add gold on here as well. Why not? Also have this transparency piece with flowers on that's been in my stash for ages, so I decided to use that as well. And again, I'm just going to put those pops of glitter in. I'm going to cut that piece up so I can just use the flowers around there, because I was never going to use like the give thanks saying, because it just didn't work, but just the flowers just work perfectly in here. So I'm just going to start to build up these clusters a bit more. And this is where I'm really happy with how the layout, what kind of the turn that the layout takes, because previous to that I was a little bit unsure. But after these couple of bits and pieces, I'm really happy with how it looks. So this is another transparency piece, which again was from Cedar Lane. I don't end up using that, but that sort of library ticket bit works perfectly. Just needed something else to ground it down there because the teal on teal just wasn't working. So I've covered up a lot of that transparency piece actually, but you can see little peaks of the teal as well. I did cut the bottom off that sold piece, and I've just stuck that at the bottom as well, because that's just where I'm going to do my little bit of journaling. It's also going to be a basis for my title. So I'm just popping all these bits and pieces down here, and I really like just bringing that gold and silver in. I think it works well. I know some people don't like mixing them, but I'm really happy with how it looks. And my little stamped image, coloured image, works perfectly on the side of that photo. So I'm going to use that "and" piece for my title. And again, that's going to work perfectly. I'm going to use foam dots to stick this image up on, and I couldn't find my foam reel. I mean, they're massive, and I don't quite know where I put them. My craft space is in such a mess right now. So I end up using these tiny little ones, which were a pain in the backside, not only to get off the sheet and stick down, but then to actually peel the back off. So I'm just putting to one side because I know it's going to overlap that wood veneer, so it only needs sort of height towards one side. So after I've fiddled around doing that, I'm just going to get that stuck down. And I said this was a super fiddly process. I probably could have cut this out, but you know, I'm just a little bit lazy when it comes to video editing right now, not gonna lie. I'm loving doing videos, it's not that, it's just the video editing. I'd rather just sit and chat to you and that kind of thing than worry about editing and making it look all snazzy, because you know, at the end of the day, if you don't like my video, don't watch it. So, but all you guys who have got to this point and are watching it evidently aren't too annoyed by it. So I've just stuck that image down, and it just balances up the layout perfectly. I really like how it looks. I had these Maggie Holmes Shine stickers, and there was that typewriter, which I was never going to use. But it worked perfectly, and it kind of works with books and bookshops, typewriters. Yes, that worked. And the pink colour was good as well. So again, just sticking another little sticker up there at the top. Just trying to get that. So look, I hadn't actually stuck that down at all. So that was a pain. And then my ATG ran out. But I ended up actually sticking that down. And then I'm taking these, which came, I believe, in the Christmas kit from Night Forever. And they are a kind of like a peachy beige colour. And they work perfectly, so this is where I'm just going to put my title, Barnes & Noble, because I'm just going to journal about how I'd spent time in the bookshop a couple of times, and then it was my birthday, and my boyfriend gave me my voucher, and then we had to go back. So, yeah, and I also ended up buying myself a Barnes & Noble book bag, because I thought that would be cool as well, which was then very useful for carrying all my books back on the plane. So I'm just going to overlap it over that gold piece, and I'm going to be using my wet glue to stick these down, because of these kind of stickers always fall off and are really annoying. So I'm just putting that title just at the bottom of all of those clusters, and it's just going to tie everything in together really, really well. I'm super happy how this came out. From that pile of scraps where I was just like, I don't know if I like these, I actually created a layout that I loved, and I also used a stamp, which you know is one of my goals for this year, is to use my stamps more. So all in all, it was a pretty successful layout. So I really like that I'm actually working away at my goals. And then, as I said, I'd already planned to mount this up on a piece of the dark wood grain cardstock as well. I just pull off some little astrocesis just to stick there, and again it's just going to pull that colour in around the rest of the layout. And I like how it looks. So I was contemplating stamping all around the layout, but I decided just to stamp #read at the bottom of that library card. And I've done a second generation stamp, so it wasn't as dark. And really I should use brown ink, but again, being lazy, I didn't. And I really love those Sugar Pea designs. They had 2 book themed stamps out last year, and I love them. So I'm just going to cover my photo up and add some mist over all of my different clusters. Try not to get it on my coloured image as well. I really like how the image came out actually. It was very relaxing to sit and just paint that as well. So I'm going to add some white as well, just to pick up the white flecks that are in that background paper. And then this is it mounted up. So thank you very much guys for watching, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye!